Check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Hello everybody, in case you didn't see my note there, you can get the sketch by going to my website. There should be a link below here of what you're looking at that's got the link for the sketch. So if you want to bring it up and sketch it real fast, you can paint along with me if you're ready to. I'll be back shortly with my audio. I'm just checking it. Hello again, everyone. I'm Larry Hamilton. Welcome to my YouTube painting channel. Thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning into this live broadcast today. We're going to do an oil painting today. It's something I might call a Frankenstein painting, although it's not that dramatically different. But I want to show you how I took a couple of different photographs and took objects from each of them and put them together into a new composition. And so that's what we'll try to paint today. So I want to go over to the computer and show you what I did with the photographs, and I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay, here we are. I'm at my computer, and I want to show you what I did with the photographs. I started out with a photograph that was a pretty photograph. Here you see it. It's a sunset type of image, and I like the looks of it. Like I said, it's pretty, but it's not great for painting as it is. So I started thinking about how I could modify this and tweak it a little bit using some artistic license and try to get something a little better composition out of it. So first of all, I did crop it down to make it fit 11 by 14 canvas, which I'm painting on today. And so I used Photoshop, and I'll show you a couple of things from Photoshop that I did. I found another photograph that had a little barn in it. I mean, I could have just created this from my memory, but I want to show you this ability that I use Photoshop for. So you can take another photo and lay over the top of an existing photo and create a whole new scene. So I took this photo and I cropped it down to just kind of get the barn out of it. I just grabbed the barn, and the perspective is just a little bit off for the painting I've got, but I used it anyway. And so I stuck it into my new version of this painting. And so by using Photoshop, I was able to paint out the trees that were in the foreground. As you can see here, there's a nice path into the painting. We have some blocks on the side to kind of keep the eye in the painting. I put a little pond in the front with a reflection of the sun setting and the sky in the background. And you can see back there in the distance, you can see this old barn that I stuck in. And I did that all with Photoshop to make this image. And then I used my paint tools to paint the snow again, and to sort of clean up the background there where I had some snow running behind some trees. I think that's always nice to show in the background. So what you've been looking at is that photo that I've had ready to paint. And so I have it on my grid here. Here's the grid, 4x5 grid that you can use to help sketch this if you want. I also do a value map, so I can kind of keep my values in mind. 3 values primarily here: light, medium, and dark. And it'll be something like this. May not adhere to this perfectly, but it's going to be close. And then finally, last but not least, I have my sketch that I also have created. And I have links for my sketch, for the grid photo, and for the value map on my website already, even though I don't have the link for the finished painting out there because I haven't created it yet. So you can go out there and grab this and hopefully sketch from it, and we'll use that as our as your template for this painting. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to show you. If you're interested in me showing you some things on Photoshop, like how I do these things, please let me know. I'm interested in maybe making a video to show you some of the tools and techniques I use to take advantage of Photoshop and the capabilities to sort of create new compositions. So this composition doesn't exist in nature anywhere. The original photo came from a lady named Tricia Rawson from the United Kingdom, and it was originally, I guess, in near Lancaster, UK. And so I sort of modified it quite a bit by taking out that front row of trees and putting a little barn in the background and changing it into a different kind of snow scene. So I'm going to go back to the easel now, and we'll get started painting this job. Okay, here we are back at the easel. I want to go through my paints and brushes with you. I have my palette here that I'm showing you, and I have my set of brushes here. I have my three things I use from Bob Ross brushes. I have a fan brush, a script liner, and this nice little palette knife here, number 5 palette knife. I may not use all those. I'm probably going to use that fan brush. I like to use that in snow scenes, so I'll probably use it somewhere. I have my Treckle brushes set. I have a set here, various sizes of filberts. I won't go through all of them. There's too many there. You don't need this many brushes. I'm probably going to use 2 or 3 of these. And then I have a selection of flats. And these are also Treckle brushes from Treckle.com. And again, you don't need this many brushes, but I have them available. Again, I'll probably use a couple of 3 of those. Let me go around the palette and explain the paints to you today. We've got a limited palette, at least more limited than normal. And so I always start out with titanium white. These are Bob Ross colors. So we have titanium white. I have no blues. I typically have 2 blue colors in here. They're gone. I have midnight black, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna. I have my alizarin crimson. I do not have sap green. I have cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, and bright red. And I have my ultraviolet here that I have from Grumbacher. So that's my list of paints that we're going to use today. I don't expect to put any blue in this painting, hardly at all. That's because I left it off the palette. I can get a blue with this midnight black a little bit if I want, but that's what we're going to start with. So we'll get going here with I want to put a little bit of, I want to set my screen up first for you. So let's zoom in here and get this thing aligned so I can have my palette on the lower right hand side. I'm going to take myself out of this picture as much as possible. You don't need to see me, you want to see the painting. So let's do this, and then I'll flip on my palette, and you should be able to see my palette and the painting as well. So see my sketch on here. I have it done in, I copied it off in my white transfer paper. I also have this white charcoal pencil that I can use if I want to put some other things up here to indicate some clouds. There's a lot of clouds. I have a big section up here that I don't show anything, so I'm going to have to define some clouds up in here. So I just use it for that if I left something out in the original sketch. So that's a nice tool because I use gray gesso on these canvas, 11 by 14 as I told you, and that's what we paint on. I also have a little bit of medium here. I have my liquid white, a Bob Ross color, which slows the painting down, slows the drying time down pretty significantly. And I also have my Liquin from Winsor Newton, and that speeds up the drying time. So if I want to speed something up, I can use Liquin. If I want to slow it down, I use liquid white. Both of them help me get movement of paint on the canvas very easily, and I can put a lot of paint on the canvas in a hurry by using either one of these mediums. So I think that's all I want to tell you. I want to make sure we're showing the best view of this canvas we can. Yeah, I want to make sure I got it fully covered here as much as possible. Okay, there we go, a little bit too far that way. All right, we're aligned. All right, let's get going here. And if you have any questions, please type them into the chat window there. And if you type them in English, I'll respond to them during the class. I see one gentleman here, I think he is maybe, I'm not sure that is Greek or Russian, but he's typing something in. I appreciate you being here, but I can't read your typing other than copy your name and paste it back in. So I'm putting on, using my big filbert brush here from Treckle. This is it's number 16. I'm going to put in some liquid white up here in the sky to sort of get it blended nicely. And this nice little underpainting will just help the paint flow very smoothly. And something I like to do. I don't cover my whole canvas with liquid white like Bob Ross used to do. used to do that, but I got to the point where I really like to have some images on the canvas here that I can see and follow and paint with. So I don't do that much at all anymore. Okay, that's enough to start with. Let's come back and pick up some of this Midnight Black, and when I put that on the white, I haven't cleaned out my brush. I put this on the white, it's going to start turning a little bit of that color that you see in the original photo. It's a sort of a grayed down, has a little bit of violet in it. It has a little bit of red in it actually too. Because I can see the red showing up over here. Over here we got some of this color that's got some, I don't know if bright red will be too bright or not. I'm going to put a little orange in there and see if I can get myself a nice little pinkish color. See the pink color I'm creating with bright red and white. I put a little bit of ochre in it. See what that looks like over here. That's just a little bit not red enough, maybe. So this is where I'm going to get some warmth in this painting, over here in this area. May even try a little bit of my alizarin and see if I can change the color with it a little bit. Alizarin is cool. The bright red is kind of like a cadmium red, so it's warmer. Okay, so I get a little bit different color here. So I like the alizarin color better than the color from my bright red. I haven't done this painting before, folks, so you're seeing me experiment with it. You're seeing me make mistakes like you might make, and try to get the right colors in here. And I'm experimenting with these, this bright red. This alizarin is very powerful, very potent color. I'm adding white, a lot of white to it to get a nice pink. I want this to sort of go all throughout here. I'm going to pull it up, put some more up in this gray up in here. Haven't cleaned my brush. I'm just putting it, this wants to go down all the way. Actually, I want to have it down all the way down into here even. So the alizarin modified by the white that's on there with a little bit of the black is giving me this nice pink background. It's interspersed with some yellow and those colors behind these trees. We got this nice little glowing area back here. Make sure that I have that enough of that sky in there to paint over. Over here, this area, I'm kind of leaving it out because I want to come back and put the bright yellow in there. All right, let's go back and get some black now. Just take it right out of here and see if we can darken this down up here. This black is it goes on dark, but it certainly dilutes very easily and very quickly. More of this dark color over here. Want this to be down behind the trees as well. Okay, I got a lot of paint going on there. I'm going to pick up my violet now. See if I can get a little bit of that color in there to change this color a little bit in some areas. Maybe help darken it even. Here we've got some areas that I want to preserve. Trying to get this so that it looks like we're seeing through these clouds sort of transparently. They're really light, nicely colored back in there. So let's put this up this way. All right. Pick up just a little of my alizarin again now. I still haven't cleaned my brush out. Picking up alizarin and cad yellow. And we'll come in here and see what that does. That's a little better color. I like that. Yeah. Alizarin with a little cad yellow. Those are both very strong colors on their own, but when you mix them together and you've got this underpainting of white down here, you've got some very nice leaves a very nice color when you're finished. If you don't have enough white, put a little more white in there and lighten it up. Get this. It's almost too red now. We can fix that. Let's get some more white. So I definitely got different colors on both sides of this painting. I've got the grays and on the right side, I got the sort of the reddish color here on the left. Okay, making progress here. Go back and get some more of this black. Okay, Pam Lee, I see your comment there. When I get to the snow, go over it slowly in detail. I will do that. I know snow sometimes is a challenge, but yeah, I think you'll be able to see how easy it can be if you have sort of the right paint, right consistency on your brush, and even using the right brush makes a lot of difference. Okay, so let's see here. I think I want to use my, pull out one of my other brushes here, one I didn't show you, but this Bob Ross blending brush here that landscape brush it's called. It's really good for taking skies like this and just softly going over and helping to get some of the brush marks out. Getting a nice soft. You notice how that changes what it looks like. Keep that brush cleaned out. I'm not done with that sky yet. I have quite a bit more to do. I'm going to bring back another filbert here, and I'm going to start picking up this almost pure cad yellow and white, and this area right in here behind these trees. This area is really bright. All through here there's a really bright yellow. Has a little bit of red in it. Really bright. Sort of sticks in your face. Has to be oranger. I want to pick up this other red and yellow and see if I can get a different color of orange. probably should put an orange on my palette. I see many artists use like a cadmium orange. I actually have cad orange in my palette, or in my tubes of paint. I have it. I just don't put it on very often here. How are we doing? Let's see. Pull up all of this alizarin. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting something that looks like there's a nice sun back in here. I'll brighten it up even more. It's really got to be picking up some titanium and just kind of going over it in some areas to highlight it a little more. Okay. Hold off with that brush for a minute. I'm going to come back and get my big blender here. I've wiped all the paint out of it. I'll come back and see if I can just sort of soften that off a little bit so that it doesn't have a lot of paint ridges in it. Okay. Now, I think it's time to come back and just go back over my top of this sky again a little bit. I want to add some more darks. Going back and getting this black in my brush, and in some of these areas here I want to put in some dark things that look like some clouds floating around. I want to give a little more texture up there. I won't want this to be boring. I don't want it to be the same color. I want it to have some things going on. Now right now that's going to look kind of goofy to you. Probably looks like I've about ruined this painting, but I'm going to show you how when I use this blender brush again, how this is going to improve the overall look of this. Here I wanted some more of that red in here. I didn't have it. Okay, pick up a little bit of this red on my other brush, and right in this area I wanted some of that pinkish color. In there, and a little more over here. And put some more of that yellow, bright yellow, sort of peeking out up here. Okay. Come back and get my brush now. This, as it looks now, I see sort of paint brush strokes there. When I use this and sort of give it a once over like this, I can sort of smooth all that out. Brush, get the paint on the brush, come back, hit it again, soften it off. Okay, so it's starting to look more like banks of clouds and a little bit of a threatening sky that you might see at sunset as the sun's going down. Let's see if I got any more I can put in here. A few more in there, maybe some more over here. Wait. All right. One more brushing over there, a little bit of brushing here. Okay, so what gives us this softness is this big old blending brush, big old, Bob Ross calls it a landscape brush, but it's really nice for blending. All right, let's stop with that and see where we are. I'm going to clean out my brushes a little bit here. I haven't cleaned them out before now. Let's get all that color out of them. We're going to come back now with this tree line, the back tree line. We're going to paint ourselves down toward the horizon before we get to the snow. So I'm going to use these, continue to use these filberts because they tend to make nice tree tops. I'm going to use this number, what is it, 12? Yeah, number 12. I'm going to start laying in some trees in here over this. And these trees have sort of a brownish, purplish color, I guess it would be. Using some Van Dyke brown, a little bit of my ultraviolet, maybe put a little white in there to lighten it up a little bit. And I'm going to try to get this brush full of paint and just use the side of it here. Something like that. Change it up, put some brown back in there. See the trees coming to life back there? Up a few browns and throw some of that in here, change the color. Change the color again, add a few more of these, a little bit of the dark sienna in there. This up here, this area right here is bothering me. I think it's kind of hard to tell it from the trees, the clouds I put in there. So I may fix that in a minute, but let's just go ahead with these right now. So I have just a lot of trees over here. I'm using combinations of my Midnight Black, Van Dyke Brown, Dark Sienna, White, Ultraviolet. And these are all hard to see. They're hard to tell them apart. They're just sort of out there. They got some of them have a little bit of a snowy texture on top of them, kind of like tops of them are sort of has caught the snow. So that value, it's hard to tell it from the canvas, isn't it? That's because my canvas is a value 5, and what I'm putting in there is about a value 5. So I want to put in some more trees here. A few more, get some darker ones. Stand up above the light here, about in this area. A bit too dark. Let's go back to the other side and pick up some other. A lot of trees. Okay, so as I get these trees that are on the edge over here, that are getting sun from the sun, I want to sort of lighten them up and sort of give them a little bit of a reflectivity. It looks like they're getting the sun on them. I want them to look like they're further back and getting hit with the sun. You see, I just laid a little bit of lighter color on there to give them this. Actually, I picked up a little bit of the yellow and white I had here, put it on top of whatever was in my brush, and just sort of give this little background trees a look back here. So they look like they're further back. Because as I start moving forward, I'm going to darken things down a little bit. And that's what I was doing. I was bringing the dark, putting the dark in there before I really was able to distinguish that back set of trees for you. So now I'm putting something darker in here, using my browns, blacks, black, I have one of those, and so this all goes down all the way to the snow line, which is down here. So let's just get this covered in really fast here with some paint. I'll make them look like trees in a minute. I want to get an underpainting on here, and we'll paint that all in as sort of a block in. Over here I got to be careful because I got some snow I want to show in there. Over here the same thing. So this all goes around behind this cabin. I want this cabin to sort of stand out. I'm going to put some snow on the top of it, I think, to make it look like it's got snow on its roof. Painting around that cabin right now. If I paint it dark enough behind that cabin, you'll be able to see the cabin pop out of there. Right? You see it? I can come back now and take some of my whites, put on top of that, and sort of show some more snow over here in these areas. Maybe lighten some of this up back here to help it look like it's further back. Got the same kind of deal over here. These trees are sort of going down into the down to the snow where the snow meets the snow, and so I want to make them light, sort of blend in with the pinkish color I have there in the background. These need to be a little softer. I'm going to hit them again really lightly. Okay. Yeah, you see a lot of trees back there. A ton of trees, actually. So I'll put a few highlights on here with this yellow color that I had. Put a few little snow things. If I change the tone, the value of this, I make it lighter and darker, all of a sudden you're seeing trees that look like they've got some snow on them right here. See how easy that is? I didn't really work very hard to make that happen. I just put a little bit of the white on my brush and just sort of tapped it in there and then pushed up on it. I'm not using brush strokes like this. I'm using brush strokes like this. Up, up. Just letting come off of the brush, whatever will come off. And I go back and change, get a darker color, and put beneath it, and all of a sudden you see more trees, more distinction. I'm getting darker as I'm coming forward. So it looks like a whole lot of trees over here on this left side. Just a ton of them. Okay. Buddy hanging in there with me. Appreciate that. Over here I got some snow. I'm going to be careful with that. I'm going to put this, well, I guess I could put in the background here if I'm careful. Come back and get that snow in there in a second. I have snow along there. I got some snow in the background here. All right, all right, so that looks like a nice wintry, snowy scene. I do see I could use a little bit of the, and this area here needs to have just a little bit more attention, I think. It looks like a, I don't know, it looks like almost like a W or something. I don't want it to look like a W. I'm going to come back and put just a few things in here, make this more of an abstract shape so that it doesn't look like something we created there. Put some more tree branches sticking up here. I can connect those with a little bit of a, okay, I think that's pretty good. At least you can see that it's showing through there. May not be perfectly matched to the color of the photograph, but then I'm not trying to match that photograph exactly. All right. Getting this brush out again. All right. So that's pretty much my bank of trees. I may come back and touch those up a little bit. I want to see if I can fix this area over here that I put too much dark in. There, something like that. I wanted to get it away so that it didn't confuse you with the trees. Okay, one way I can help improve that is to darken down those back trees just a little. A little bit of my black and my violet, and right in here where they seem to touch that cloud, if I can darken them just a little, I hope you see that better. I think that's helping a little bit, yeah. Okay, so I got a little bit of maybe a fogginess or something going on back there. Okay. Now, going to start working on this snow. So Pam Lee, pay attention here. I'm going to start working on the snow. Hello from Croatia. Hello. Welcome. All right. I told you I was going to use my fan brush. This fan brush is great for making large sweeping strokes of snow, or even used in water a lot. Pick up a little bit of my liquid white. I don't want this snow to be totally perfectly white. I want it to have just a little bit of a tone in it. So I've got some of this pinkish color here in it. But I want it back here. See how it works back here. So using the liquid white helps thin that down and make it go on much easier. But I can get some very nice sweeping strokes of snow here. I paint around this little cabin. Just use this fan brush, Pam, and see, when it's too white, it looks too stark. You need to tone it down a little bit with something, either the black or the violet or the pink or some combination thereof. Got it in there. I got maybe just a little bit of snow over here in some areas. Behind the trees. This area over here has got some snow coming in this way behind these trees. I think I've got snow I'm going to show right here. I want this cabin to kind of look like it's snowed in a little bit. Something like this. Okay. And might just be a few little places back in here that's hard to see, but you know they're there. And as I put this in, I can come back and go over that again in front of it, and I'll make it push that snow back. It looks right now that snow's on top of everything, but I'm going to come back in there and go over it with some tree trunks and that sort of thing, and we'll push that snow back in behind the trees, which is what I was really trying to do. All right, I'll stop with the fan brush for now, and let's see here if I can get my little bit smaller brush now. Maybe pick up a small, I guess a number 2. That might be too big. I could probably use that. Okay, I'm going to pick up some dark trunks now, and in this area here I want to make it look like I've got some trees going down to this other snowbank. Over here, the same kind of thing. So this in here has to be darker. So I'm just putting in some ground now that's doesn't have much snow on it, or any snow on it. Sort of ground these trees. So you see what I'm doing with this fine little brush. I'm just making some nice areas that look like they've got snow on them. I can take this brush and like double side it, put dark on one side and light on the other, and as I come down here, it should give me a two-tone tree like that with some snow on the right side. By just having a white paint on one side of the brush and dark paint on the other. It's called double loading. Something like that. All right, we got a lot of trees in here. I'm not going to paint all these trees in here for sure. There's too many of them. But I want to give you the feeling that there's a lot of trees back here. And So I want you to think about wanting to walk back into this woods and go see what's over there. Okay, I got some big trees I'm going to bring down here, but I wanted to get those in. I've got some more on the other side. I'm going to put in over here. I'm going to bring them down to there like that. Let's see here. There's a kind of a big one there. Maybe we're going over here like this. Okay. Pick up more dark in this brush and sort of fill in the bottoms here. I've got these areas I left gray canvas sitting out there when I painted around it with the snow, and I want to fill that in. I don't want to have gray canvas staring at me. I do want to make these tree trunks something like that. And you can play around with this. You can put in more trees, you can put in fewer trees, you can do this however you want. But you need to make sure that you don't leave the bottom of them hanging. Like, you don't want it to look like it's glued on like this one. You want to, and it doesn't take much to fix that. You just want to take a brush that's got no paint in it hardly and just sort of blend the bottom so that it looks like it's part of the landscape, and you've got the problem solved. Over here, these need to have something dark. I'm picking up some dark paint and just sort of putting a little bit of darkness under them. I could do the same with snow, actually. Matter of fact, I think I'll do that to show you. Again, this is a nice technique. Just take some of the white paint you have here and put it on the same brush. I cleaned the brush out. And over here, this area doesn't have much snow in it, but let's put some in there. And I can just sort of work it in that way so it looks like those are setting right in a bank of snow as opposed to going over having a bank of snow behind them. Put in a few things that look like we've got snow going back there in the background. I just want to fill this in. I don't want it to be one gray color. Gray or brown, whatever. All right, so I've got a lot of tree trunks there. Now I need to come back and put in a few more branches and put some more trees over that. I put some more of the, well, it would be branches. And so if I come back here now and take this, I've got a number, what is this, a number 6. Again, this is still filberts. I haven't used any flats. I'm only using filberts so far. I just want to come back and fill in some things here that look like I've got a tree that might be part of these. Got some snow on it. They're sitting out here further. They're not back in the woods as much. I want to put a little bit of that on so I can distinguish it from what's behind it. If I got the same value, you won't be able to see it. So either have to make it darker or lighter. So I'm either putting snow on it or I'm making it darker. One of the two. A little bit of both. Okay. Spend a long time doing this if I wanted, but I think I'll slow down on that. So at least those looks like those trees are both connected at the top and at the bottom, so they don't end up looking like I glued them on. I don't want them to look glued on. There's trees over here. How about a little more white in this area here? These trees have, I'm just using this filbert and with some white on it and trying to make some abstract shapes here to go along with these tree trunks that I've put in here. I want them to be broken up a little bit. I don't want them to look like I don't want them to be manufactured. I don't want them to look identical. And I have violated a rule there that I should go back and fix, which I will in a minute. It's got Got a lot of red in that one. Come back and put a little darker brown in there, like this. So there's a lot. That's probably too dark, isn't it? Had that on the back side of my brush. We can fix it. We know how to fix it. Okay, something like that. Over there. These trees are all in behind this. What I did wrong, and I'll explain it to you right now, is these 4 trees, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're all evenly spaced. They're all almost the same width because I used one brush, and that gets to be a little boring. Most artists will tell you to vary your sizes, vary your shapes, make them, some wider than others, make some closer together. So I'm trying to fix that up a little bit now by changing some of the shapes of these, so it looks like either a bigger tree or a smaller tree, and I don't still have almost the same gap here, but at least it's better, I hope. That's a thank you, Scarpy, glad you're here. So you want to try to make these things so they look different. You don't want them all to look alike. I'm going to see if I can put a few scrapes in here with my knife to sort of add some things that go through the... If I scrape that paint out, it's really hard for you to see that, I'm sure, but it gets down to the canvas color. If that were white, you would see white trunks, but you're seeing gray trunks now, like that. Okay, it looks like a field back there where that cabin might be able to be positioned. Go back and get my little fan brush to see if I can tune some of that up just a little bit back there in some areas. This area here, I just came back and painted over it, and it was just sort of looks kind of all brown. Looks like it's too abrupt. I want some more snow in here, so put a little bit more snow banks in there, that type of thing. But this fan brush does wonders. A little bit of liquid white helps thin the paint out so that it goes over. A little bit of color in it so that it doesn't look totally white. Put a little either violet or gray in it. So all of this is the farm field. I guess it's a farm field that's covered out here. All snow. So not a lot to it. Pam, I think you were asking me to take it slow and detailed. I'm just taking this fan brush and just sort of sweeping back and forth. And if I want to show you in a little bit when we get down here to these other foreground trees that really weren't in the painting at all, or in the photo rather, they weren't in the photo, but show you how we can make a little, like a indented area around those trees so that they can look like they're setting embedded in the ground with a little clump of snow over them. I think you were talking about making clumps of snow or piles of snow. And you just got to think about snow as a three-dimensional object, just like you would think of a ball or a house. It needs to have something to give it form. Right now I'm just doing two-dimensional stuff here. But look what happens if I take a little bit of my violet on this brush. If I come in here and just sort of do that, and don't go back and mess with it too much, but just that, and kind of soften off the front edge here so I have a sharp edge at the back, a soft edge in the front. I've made a ridge of snow out there, Pam. that's the kind of thing you have to do. If you keep going over that, if I go back over that, I'll mess it up and I'll lose it. But you've got to stop. You can't just keep going back over. And you can always take areas and highlight them. Like if I think some of this area is too dark, I can come back and put a little bit of pure titanium white over the top and make something that looks like a mound of snow back there. Rough texture. If you take your brush and pull it real fast, like right here, I'm going to try it like that. It didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. I wanted to get this look of like that, where it's skipping over the canvas and you see the canvas coming through. That's called rough texture right there. Doesn't, and on a gray canvas like this, it doesn't help you that much because it looks like you're not covering the canvas. If it were white and your snow had a little color in it, it would look a little better. But I can still use that gray canvas for some highlights in the snow, for some, not highlights, but just texture in the snow, which is what rough texture does. Okay, I gotta be careful where I'm getting down here with the snow now. This is my reflections in my water. So I got this going out like this. This is all snow over to here. Use a lot of titanium white paint when you're painting snow scenes. There's a case where I used pure titanium over something that was a little bit darker, and I got now it looks like more of a maybe an indentation or something that I got a highlight sticking up here where the light's hitting on it. Okay, so see over here I've got more snow. Let me go ahead and get this other snow in over here on the left side behind these trees, and get it over to the water. The water is where? It's like right in here, so let's okay, so you see I'm leaving a pocket there for the water. I'm going to have another ridge right in here where the snow is highlighted, and we show some drop down. Looks like it drops off of a little ledge here. So just take your time. You don't have to rush. We've been going out, what, 51 minutes or so, 50, maybe 55. And we've about got this painting covered here. I mean, I got a lot of details to finish up, but I want to tell you don't have to take forever to paint these paintings. And I want to give yourself a little bit of a, I'll leave those little sketch marks in there so I can remember to put in those long trees, those tall trees out here. Okay, a lot of snow. Now let's see if we can come back now and put this water in here. It's got to have those colors. I'll clean my brush out. Hello, Donald from Woodsfield, Ohio. Welcome. Glad you're all here, folks. So now I've got this area here, and I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid white in there to see if I can get something to help that paint go smoother. It's hard to tell the liquid white from the other paint, but basically I want this there, and I'm going to come back now with my yellow, cad yellow, almost pure cad yellow here, and white. See if I can match some of this color that's up there in the sky as a reflection. Pick up some red. A little more red. Some more of that red in there. Be redder than that. I'm trying to paint backwards of what's in the sky, so I want the reddish color, more red at the bottom than I have at the top. I want the yellow at the top of this, since it's the reverse of the sky. Come on here, let's get this bright stuff in there. It's really not bright, is it? Not as bright as I'd like it to be. So let's try to hit it with a little harder. There's something like that. Okay, lay that down for a minute. Let's go back and see if we can put just a little bit of border around the back of this pond here, so you can tell that there's something different about this. So that you know that it's see that it's something different than what else we have going on there. This is darker over here even a little bit with these trees coming in. There's more brush and debris. So I'm just sort of painting over this, getting that color, pulling this color back over this way, and putting this in. I'll come back and put some white on top of that so that I can highlight that for you. Over here we got, this is going to string out more gray tones over here. So I'm trying to make it all look like this is all water and it's all kind of running together, and it's got some reflections going in here like this. That didn't work. Like this, we'll put a dark reflection down like this. Something like that. Things in there to make it look like we've got some reflection going on. So as I outline that with this darker border here, all of a sudden you can see that there's something else that's a little different. It looks like it might be water, it might be ice, but the dark is making the light show up, which is what I was trying to do. I want that to look like it's all something icy. Need some more dark over here on the left. Dark makes that light pop out. Okay, so we've got that color in there. Now let's see if we can, I want to just sort of smooth that out a little bit. I don't want it to be quite as hard to, let's see if this will work here. There, I sort of blended it, blurred it slightly so that it's kind of like painting water, actually. Pull this back. Okay, now let's come back and see if we can put some more snow over the top of that. And make it look like we've got some little banks here that are going down Need plenty of paint for this probably. Like right in here. Need to be brighter than that. Yeah, that's the motion I wanted. I wanted to sort of curve down like that, sort of give myself a thing that looks like there's a bank there. Over here I want it to sort of curve down on top as well, so that it looks like the snow is sort of coming over something, over the edge. Maybe some right in here. Not much, just enough to fool the eye. We're doing optical illusions here. All right, that looks like a little pond that could be there, that's got some snow or ice in it and can be reflecting the sun back there. Put a little few darker streaks in here to sort of break that up so it's not all, I want it to be all one color back there. I want to pull this gray together a little bit. Okay. Now let's come back and see if we can refine this edge in front, like right here. Very much like I did up here. I want that to indicate some sort of a break. I want it to indicate there's maybe a drop off or something going on there. Come back and get some more snow and put it over this. So this fan brush does wonders. And I think I've made it look like there's a little pond of some kind there. It's got little banks around it. It's got some areas that look like we're overflowing, or not overflowing, but we're connecting with that pond. All right, let's see. We got a lot. We're about very close to being done here. Let's put in a few more big brush strokes. I want to put those trees in. Don't let me forget to put those trees in on the sides. Over here. Okay, we got that canvas pretty well covered. All right, now, these trees on the side are, trying to get my brush out of there. Hello, Nora from Paraguay. Wow, thank you for joining us. Welcome. Glad you're here. Okay, so I'm going to try to take these colors I have now and I'm going to put in some trees, see if we can make this work. I want to get a nice runny consistency. I've pulled this liquid white over, pulling color into it, and I'm getting a nice runny consistency on my number 6 brush here. And we're going to start here, and I'm going to do the old test. See, I think they're going to start right here. Okay. Got most of it in there. Needs to be darker. There, that's one. The other one is gray, runny. Don't make them parallel to the side of the canvas. Don't make them vertical. Another tip for you. See, I start here. There. More dark on the left side, maybe. If I can get it darker. I want it to be darker than what's behind it, or you won't see it. There, we'll put a little purple in there. That'll do it. Okay. I could have used my palette knife, got that big old palette knife out and done this, but I wanted it to sort of see how these brushes work. All right. Other brush I haven't used is my script liner, so I'm going to get this out and pick up some of the same color, but I want this to have a lot of thinner in it, so I'm throwing some thinner in here, getting a nice runny paint, and see what this does here. Just throw in some branches here. Darker at the top, if you can make them darker at the top. And this is where people that tell me they can't draw a straight line, I want to talk to them, because many things in nature are not straight lines. They're crooked, organic. So you want to draw a crooked line, draw a crooked line. Make them crisscross if you can remember to do that. And pull them out this way, pull them. It's got to be darker if you're going to show it over this background. We want this to be a little darker, otherwise it doesn't show up. Okay, this looks like sort of a scraggly tree that's been left. I'm not putting every branch on there that I can put on it. It's lost all its leaves by now, of course. Make them crisscross. Make that one come this way. All right. About enough of that. A little bit of that goes a long way. I always think about making the branches all go that way, but there are branches that kind of come back like this. And so you want to use those if you can. If you can remember. Darker on the left side of this tree. There we go. I could put a little bit of the highlight on the right side of the tree. This color, get some of this lighter color that's been reflecting from the sky with this little bit of red in it, and just put a little bit on this side over here to see if we can highlight it just a little bit. Because these things would be getting sun on this side of the tree for sure, if we're getting that much reflection down here in the water. So let's put that in there. All right, bottom of this tree is setting in snow. I was going to show you how we have this back here, and I want to put in a hard-edged, as hard as I can make it here in front of it, like this. So by just using my fan brush and sort of twisting it over here like this, I'm able to make you think those trees are setting in snow. Highlight it, pull out some more bright whites, put in a few things like that, and all of a sudden I've got, looks like it could be maybe drifting snow. Okay. This will be covered by the frame down here probably anyway, so I don't need to worry too much with it. Now the question is, do I need trees on the right hand side? Well, I'll tell you, in the photograph there was a bunch of trees over here. There was actually a bunch of trees over here, a whole glob of trees. I've just removed all of them. So maybe we can take our brush and put in a few, maybe a few clumps of trees over here on this side to sort of delineate this area that we're painting in over here. Let's make these smaller. See, I'm trying to make them closer together, farther apart. Change the color a little bit, change the width, change the anything you can think of. Something like that. And then we've got a bunch of little branches and stuff on here that I can put on with this script liner. Probably can show you another little trick with the fan brush. You can actually use the fan brush for this as well. Let me do that here. I might as well show you while we're here. Yeah, Pam, see that fan brush? I told you that would work. It's kind of neat. I have more fun with it when I'm painting snow scenes than about anything else. But look what you can do with trees. Now I want to put these trees, I'm going to try to make this look like it's fanned out at the top. I'm taking some of this brownish color that's got a lot of thinner in it. And let's see if I can kind of put in these light little airy things that look like real fine branches. Just barely touching. Probably hard for you to even see that, but I want these to sort of all go down like that. And you can do the opposite with them. You can take this fan brush and pull up. If I go right here, I can pull up like this, and look what that does. That puts another little set of bushes and weeds and whatever. See, it's going to improve this as I go across here. If I use that, I will actually put some in here like that, maybe a few back here. And these are the fine touching details that really help make a painting stand out. We could probably even have a few out here somewhere. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to paint my cabin back there. We're not done yet, folks. Hang in there. I got so enamored with this water and reflectivity and all of that, I forgot to paint my cabin. All right, we'll put in a few more of these things and just let them sort of hang out there in the snow. And let's go paint that cabin and we'll be done. All right, I'm going to take a small brush, probably, I don't know. I'm going to have to get a flat for this, I think, because it has those nice sharp angles, and I don't want to use the filbert for that because the filbert has a rounded top, and it's going to be harder to. I'm going to put a snowy roof on this thing. Okay. Put some more banks of snow here. got this brush. All right. Notice I didn't make that a perfectly straight edge. I did it by accident, but I'm going to tell you I did it on purpose. Because I don't want a straight line there. I'm going to change the color. Let's get something besides. Get a cabin looking color here that's sort of a dark sienna and white. Lighten it up. Make it look different than the roof. But let's put in a front on this cabin. It's kind of small and tiny. Okay, that is one side of the cabin. The other side is going to be a little darker. This side over here. Okay, now put a little bit of a dark edge there. Let's put in a okay. We want to have a little bit of this reddish color here for a chimney back there. Pick that up with my just a dab of red back here. A little hard to see that, but it is red. Bright red, almost right out of the tube. Now, one more thing I want to do before I finish is to put some light in the windows. Let's make that cabin look like somebody's living there. What do you think? So I'm going to take my yellow, get my brush thin, cad yellow. Let's put a little window in here with some light in it. You probably can't see that either, I'll bet. I'm looking on my monitor behind me and it doesn't show up that well. So let's put a little bit of another one over here. Okay, now it looks like we've got at least some light in that cabin. A little more bright. Cad yellow is pretty strong. It usually stands out. Okay, I think. Thanks, Marilyn, for reminding me about that little house. I'm about slipped up on that. I'm going to pick up a little bit, just one little finishing touch here. Let's put some smoke coming out of this little chimney back here. A little white. Something like that. Now you know somebody's living in that house. And actually, I'll even put a little reflection of that yellow down here. Now we're giving it really three-dimensional information. Blend that just slightly, ever so slightly. All right, I think I'm going to stop with that and get my signature going somewhere here, probably down here on the lower left. Get my thinner going and block print my name, and I'll be finished with this little job for you. A bit more. Okay. Okay, folks, I think I'm going to say that's it. We got a nice little red chimney in there. We got some nice reflections. I don't think I forgot to do anything. Oops, get back in the center of my page here. All right, I could put some things on these trees up here on the left, but I think I'm just going to leave them kind of dangle for now. I could come back with that fan brush and put some more that real fine stuff that looks like tree branches, that sort of thing. But I think I'm just going to leave it for that. And I'm going to take my camera controls and zoom back and say, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. I'm really glad you tuned in and had a lot of fun doing this painting. I hope you do too. There are links down below for the sketches, the value map, and the original photograph that I used, which was photoshopped, if you remember. So you can use those for your own edification, and I hope you give them a try and let me know how you do. Check out my website, check out my Facebook page, check out some of my links if you want to buy some products. I get a little bit of a commission off of some of those things if you buy a brush or two, whatever. If you don't need all these brushes that I had up here, I just have a whole set of each kind, and it's really nice to have a range of brushes when you're trying to do a painting like this, because it has small objects and big objects and that sort of thing. So I wanted to be able to use those for this, and I hope you like it. And tell your friends, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and till I see you again, this is Larry Hamilton saying so long for now. Bye-bye. Okay.